Hello and welcome back to the BARD Review, the perfect start to your Sunday morning here at the Barn Theatre. I'm Benjamin Collins and I'm delighted as always to be joined by the series co-producer Aaron Sidwell. Aaron, tell me, what have we got in store for us this week?
Well, this week we are venturing slightly into the unknown, or certainly lesser known. That's right, this is Shakespeare's Lesser Known Gems Week.
Fantastic.
He penned so many incredible plays, and some are more popular than others when it comes to performance, but there is no doubt that the quality of these plays is undeniable.
It is. They're all incredible plays. It's amazing that they are less popular. How could they possibly be less popular?
Well, I think there's many reasons. I think some have slightly more controversial issues when it comes to today, and that makes them slightly trickier to put on. Some are stories that haven't proved quite as pivotal to modern history as they might have seemed back then. And some, who can say? Some people just don't want to do them. But I am really looking forward to getting into the nitty-gritty of these today.
We kick off this week with Sarah Finnigan and Adam Patient, who brought us the first of our lesser-known gems this week with Pericles. Welcome both, you guys.
Hiya.
Hiya, you're right.
How's it going? It's good to see you in the Zoom. You can't say in the flesh, you know. But it's good to meet you finally. So I was going to ask you, Sarah, for those of us unfamiliar with Pericles, could you give us a quick idea of what this play is about?
Yeah. So it's basically about a king called Pericles. He's king of Tyre, and it's basically his journey. His journey from a young man spanning about 20 years. Along the way, he loses his wife, he loses his daughter, he thinks they're both dead. It turns out not to be in the end. They're reunited in the end, but after a 20-year absence without them. And they have various dramatic events happening to them as well.
Amazing. Adam, all three of you made me a really proud producer on this, as this was filmed in all of our hometown of Maidstone in Kent.
Oh, yes.
And the director, Rob, obviously has a Shakespeare company that's based there. Did you know Rob already before you came onto the project, or was this just a happy coincidence?
Yeah, no idea. I just came on and then he was like, yeah, where are you based? And I was like, I'm just in Maidstone in Kent. I was like, oh my God, you're from Maidstone? I was like, yeah. And then we just got talking. He knows a few of my friends. He knows my mate Harry. Worked with him on a few things, which is strange because he's one of my best mates. So small world. But it was great. It was great sort of having that sort of area in common. So he knew where he wanted to shoot it, and I knew exactly what he was talking about when he said these sort of things. So yeah, it was really nice.
Beautiful,
really
this
cool.
film as well, Adam. It looks beautiful. I was just going to throw in there, you know, all the footage that you filmed around Maidstone.
Oh yeah, mate, it's a lovely place. It's a lovely place. It was weird. I got moved on so many times because we wanted to film it in like the market area by Lockmeadow, but it's like a car park of a cinema. So I got just, oh God, it was so horrible. But yeah, we got there in the end.
I can literally imagine you just like knocking around Lockmeadow. To add some context, it's like where there's this Odeon and a Burger King, and that's actually where I had my first ever job. So it was at Burger King at Lockmeadow. So I know it well. This is Sarah Finnigan and Adam Patient in Pericles, directed by Rob Faulkner.
Now, BOULT, hast thou cried her through the market?
I have cried her almost to the number of her hairs.
I've drawn a picture with my voice.
And I prithee tell me, How dost thou find the inclination of the people, especially of the younger sort?
Faith, they listened to me as they would have hearkened to their father's testament. There was a Spaniard's mouth so watered that he went to bed to her very description.
We shall have him here tomorrow with his best ruff on.
Tonight? Tonight? But mistress, do you know the bow-legged Frenchman?
What? Monsieur Clap?
Aye, he offered to cut a caper at the proclamation, but he gave a groan at it and swore he'd see her tomorrow.
Well, as for him, he brought his disease hither. Here he does but repair it. I know he shall come in our shadow to scatter his crowns in the sun.
Well, if we had of every nation a traveller, we should lodge them with this sign. But mistress, if I did bargain for the joint...
Thou mayest cut a morsel off this.
I may so.
Who should deny it? BOULT.
Just a minute.
Spend thou that in the town. Report what a sojourner we have. You'll lose nothing by custom. When nature framed this piece, she meant thee a good turn. Therefore say, what a paragon she is. And thou hast the harvest of thine own report.
I warrant you, mistress, thunder shall not so awake the beds of eels as my, giving out her beauty, stir up the lewdly inclined. I'll bring home some tonight.
Rochelle and Tom, welcome to the BARD Review. How are you guys doing?
Very well, thank you. Yeah, all good.
So,
I think this is such an interesting play because, like a lot of Shakespeare's play, it tells a story that, like, some people are quite familiar with the fall of Troy, but it's so contemporary in its debate about what's essential to human life and what's existential to human life, which, let's face it, is basically what everybody is going through right now. But Tom, for you, was this a play that you were familiar with kind of coming in already?
No, I didn't know it at all. I found it such a slippery play to try and get hold of. It was, sort of reading it, I couldn't work out whether it was sort of taking itself very seriously or satirizing itself the whole time. And we talked a lot about that, you know, in our initial rehearsals about which road we were going to go down with, because I think it offers so many different versions of itself to you, which was great for a project like this.
I was going to ask you, Rochelle. I mean, you are not new to Shakespeare, but this might be an unknown play for you. Was it daunting at all to take it on, or were you confident?
At first, it was a bit daunting because I was like, I thought I knew a lot about Shakespeare. I thought I knew every play, so I was like, I really don't know this one. And then I was not too sure about, the dialogue. I felt like Cressida didn't have a lot to say. So I wasn't sure how it was going to pan out with my lines, but it was really good in the end. It worked out really well.
Yeah. Well, you both play it incredibly well. Let's have a look. This is Rochelle Suarez and Tom Chapman in Troilus and Cressida, directed by Victoria Gimby.
Be moderate, be moderate.
Why do you tell me of moderation?
Cressida.
Troilus.
I love thee in so strained a purity that the blessed
Troilus.
gods as
The
angry
gods.
as angry with my fancy,
Troilus.
writing zeal and the devotion. Give me a second. Cressida, we too, with so many thousand sighs, did by each other must poorly sell ourselves with the rude brevity and discharge of one, O Cressida.
Is the lady ready?
Hark, you are called. Some say the genius so cries, come to him that instantly must die. Bid them have patience. She shall come anon.
I must then to the Grecians.
No remedy.
A woeful cressid amongst the merry Greeks. When shall I see you again?
Hear me, my love. Be thou but true of heart.
I true? How now?
Nay, I speak not be thou true as fearing thee. For I will throw my glove to death himself, that there's no maculation in thy heart. I will corrupt the Grecian sentinels to give thee nightly visitation, but yet be true.
Oh, heavens be true. What wicked deem is this?
Hear while I speak it, love. The Grecian youths are full of quality. They're loving, well composed with gifts of nature, flowing and swelling over with arts and exercise.
Oh, heavens, you love me not.
Die I a villain then? In this I do not call your faith in question so many as my merit. I cannot sing, nor heal the high vault, nor sweeten talk, nor play at subtle games, fair virtues all, to which the Grecians are most prompt and pregnant. But I can tell that in each grace of these there lurks a still and dumb discoursive devil, that tempts most cunningly, but be not tempted.
Do you think I will?
No. But sometimes we are devils to ourselves.
Troilus!
Good brother, come you hither?
My lord, will you be true?
Who, I? Alas. It is my vice, my fault. While some with cunning gild their copper crowns, with truth and plainness I do wear mine bare. But fear not my truth. The moral of my wit is plain and true. There's all the reach of it. Come, kiss, and let us... Give me your hand. And as we walk to our own selves, bend we our needful talk.
With us now is director Abigail Pickard Price and actress Evangeline Henderson. How are you guys?
Yeah, very well, thank you.
Good.
Look, I'm going to hold my hands up here. Okay, I don't know the first thing about this play at all before I assigned it to you. So deepest apologies for giving you this unknown play. But it is actually statistically the least performed of all of his plays. Abigail, did you absolutely hate me for assigning you this play particularly?
I didn't hate you at all. Do you know what I thought it was when I first read it, I went, oh God, I've never read it, I've never seen it. But actually how wonderful to have the opportunity and the time at the moment to be able to learn about a new play and to read it and to watch. I watched the Globe production, so actually I was rather delighted at the end, having initially gone, oh God.
It's amazing, and like what you ended up doing with it in the context of a political leader and stuff like that. How did that choice kind of come about? Was it the most obvious one that presented itself to you?
We had a variety of different sections that we were looking at, but I mean, Evie straight away went, this feels really, really right for now, and maybe we should explore it, and we sort of all pushed against it for a little bit because it felt so pertinent right now, but actually the more we explored it and the more we kind of moved away onto other ones, we kept coming back to it, and I think it sort of felt like too much of a gift for now to not touch on this scene, I think.
Evangeline, I was going to ask you, there being many ethical dilemmas in this piece, probably one of the reasons, maybe everyone steers clear of it, it being the least, apparently from Aaron, the least performed play of all of Shakespeare's. Did that make things tricky for you guys when choosing a scene? Obviously, we've heard a bit about that.
I don't know, a little bit. I suppose it was more about how do you tell the story in a modern situation. I think because she is the daughter of a doctor and she turns up at this court, and I think what I like about it is that it's very bold for the time it was written in, and definitely there's the ethical problem with how she basically forces Bertram into marrying her. But I think what Abby we spoke about was taking it away from that and taking away like all of the context, and it just being about this woman that had this cure for this thing that she was absolutely, had absolute belief about. And that's where the idea of the homeopathy and the natural remedy came from. Because we just sort of said, well, who is she that would have the guts to and have a Skype meeting with the Prime Minister of England and say, I can cure this thing that no one can cure. It came from that, and came from that she's got this absolute belief in something else which isn't founded necessarily in absolute medical science, but she thinks it will really work. And that's sort of how we approached it, I think, and worked around that.
Glaxo, watch out.
Fantastic. Well, this is Henry Douthwaite and Evangeline Henderson in All's Well That Ends Well, directed by Abigail Pickard Price.
The Prime Minister is now suffering seriously from a disease that does not pick and choose. Downing Street itself, a place where the virus spread. Power, no protection from harm. Laura Kunzberg, BBC News.
Now, fair one. Does your business follow us?
Aye, my good lord. Hearing your High Majesty is touched with that malignant cause wherein the honour of my gift stands chief in power, I come to tender it and my appliance with all bound humbleness.
We thank you, maiden. But may not be so credulous of cure when our most learned doctors leave us, and the Congregated College have concluded that labouring art can never ransom nature from her inedible estate. We must not so stain our judgment, or corrupt our hope to prostitute our past cure malady to empirics, or to dissever so our great self, and our credit to esteem a senseless help, when help past sense we deem.
What I can do no hurt to try, since you've set up your rest against remedy. He that of the greatest works is finisher, oft does them by the weakest minister. So holy writ in babes hath judgment shown, when judges have been babes. Great floods have flown from simple sources, and great seas have dried when miracles have by the greatest been denied. Oft expectation fails, and most oft there where most it promises. And oft it hits, where hope is coldest and despair most fits. Yes, sir. To my endeavours give consent. Of heaven, not me, make an experiment. I am not an impostor that proclaim myself against the level of my name. But know I think, and think I know most sure. My art is not past power, nor you past cure.
Art thou so confident? Within what space hopest thou my cure?
24 times the pilot's glass hath told the thievish minutes how they pass. What is infirm from your sound parts shall fly, health shall live free, and sickness freely die.
Upon thy certainty and confidence. What darest thou venture?
With vilest torture let my life be ended.
Methinks in thee some blessed spirit doth speak his powerful sound within an organ weak. And what impossibility would slay in common sense? And sense saves another way. Thy life is dear, for all that life can rate. Worth name of life in thee hath estimate. Youth, beauty, wisdom, courage, all that happiness and prime can happy call. Sweet practitioner, thy physic I will try, that ministers thine own death if I die.
If I break time or flinch in property of what I spoke, unpitied let me die, and well deserved. Not helping, death's my fee.
More I should question thee, and more I must, though more to know could not be more to trust. From whence thou camest, how tended on, but rest. Unquestioned welcome, and undoubted blessed. Give me some help here, home. And if thou proceed, as high as word, my deed shall match thy meed.
We are delighted to welcome back to the show director Ollie Lines and to welcome actress Laura Cooper-Jones. Ollie, you were the director, but you were also the editor of this video as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit kind of about what's going on in the scene?
Yeah, so we were given the play Cymbeline, and then what was quite nice about the process is that we chose the scene together, the director, myself and the actors Jason and Laura, and yeah, we knew quite early on we wanted to have a kind of conversation over two different mobile devices, which then throughout the process threw us a few kind of curveballs and problems to solve. Not least because we thought that video capture, video recording, which I know a lot of people know how to do now on iPhones to grab whatever on their screen, doesn't take audio when you're on a phone call. So we thought about it, and editing wise, I think actually what we've ended up with has been quite lovely in that we then went for a shot where I asked the actors to film basically a POV shot of themselves holding the phone. So a long kind of conversation about shot lists and all this kind of stuff. I'm really happy with the end result, editing wise. It was tough to sync it all together, but I'm new to editing. I'm learning every day, and it was a really good challenge. And I think the end result has been quite good to have it all landscape rather than like a Zoom meeting, like where it's all like different squares and rectangles on a black background.
Ollie, you're bringing back sync nightmares to my brain. We all have to go through it, unfortunately.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask, well, Laura, this is interesting. The Globe actually renamed this show a few years back to Isabel because, well, I'm not that familiar with Cymbeline, but apparently she's the focus of the play, and that meant that they actually renamed it to Isabel. That's really interesting. So she's up there with Shakespeare's greatest heroines, really. How was it to take on this role so early in your career?
Well, it's a bit of a dream role for me, really, because the Globe every year do a competition called Sound Wanamaker, or like a thing for all the drama schools. Yeah. And basically, at my drama school, Royal Birmingham Conservatoire, we sort of put scenes forward to be like nominated to represent the school at that big showcase. So when I was researching different Shakespeare plays that I wanted to do, this one reached out to me like straight away. I don't really know specifically why, but then I showed my scene partner Ben, and he loved it. So sort of ever since then, I had a real connection with the play.
That's really nice.
Yeah, so
yeah, well, I love that moment when something, you know, because Shakespeare can sometimes seem so opaque, and then you cotton onto one detail of one play or a few plays, and you have a connection with it after that. You know, that's how it happens sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Especially because she's such a strong female role in Shakespeare, like.
Yeah.
And she's just so overlooked as a character, I think, and the play itself is so overlooked as well. Like, if anyone has time to go and look at the RSC's version, it's just brilliant. It's so good.
Yeah, well, it's good to support the underdog. I definitely get that. So, all right, let's look at it. Let's watch. Let's regard this piece. This is Laura Cooper-Jones and Jason Broderick in Cymbeline, directed by Oliver Lines.
All of her that is out of doors most rich.
Arm me audacity from head to foot. Boldness be my friend.
Who may this be?
Madam, a noble gentleman of Rome.
Iachimo.
Change you, madam. The worthy Posthumus is in safety and greets your highness dearly.
Thanks, good sir. You're kindly welcome.
Continues while, my lord, his health beseech you.
Well, madam.
Is he disposed to mirth? I hope he is.
Exceeding pleasant. None a stranger here so merry and so gamesome. He is called the Britain Reveller.
When he was here, he did incline to sadness. But oft times not knowing why.
I've never seen him sad. What? Are men mad? Has nature given them eyes to see this vaulted arch and the rich crop of sea and land? And can we not partition make with spectacles so precious twixt fair and foul?
What? 'Tis sir, thus raps you. Are you well?
Thanks, madam, well. But heavens knows some men are much to blame.
Not he, I hope.
Not he. But yet heaven's bounty towards him might be used more thankfully. In himself 'tis much. In you, which I account is beyond all talents, whilst I am bound to wonder, I am bound to pity too.
You look on me. What wreck discern you in me deserves your pity?
And others do. I was about to say enjoy your... But it's an office of the gods to venge it, not mine to speak on.
You do seem to know something of me or what concerns me, pray you. Discover to me what you both spur and stop.
Had I this cheek to bathe my lips upon?
This object which takes prisoner the wild motion of mine eye.
Firing it only here? Should I, damned then, slaver with lips as common as the stairs that mount the Capitol? It were fit that all the plagues of hell should at one time encounter such revolt.
Let me hear no more.
Oh, dearest soul, your cause doth strike my heart with pity that doth make me sick. Be revenged.
Revenged?
How should I be revenged?
If this be true, as I have such a heart that both mine ears was not in haste abuse. If this be true, But how shall I be revenged?
Should he make me live like Diana's priest, betwixt cold sheets, whilst he is vaulting variable ramps in your despite upon your purse?
Revenge it.
I dedicate myself to your sweet pleasure.
What? Jackman. Away. I do condemn mine ears that have so long attended thee. If thou wert honourable, thou wouldst have told this tale for virtue, not for such an end thou seekest, as base, as strange. Thou wrong'st an honourable gentleman, who is as far from thy report as thou from honour, and solicits here a lady that disdains thee and the devil alike.
Oh, happy Posthumus!
Give me your pardon. I spoke this to know only if your affiance were deeply rooted. Blessed live you long, a lady to the worthiest sir that ever country called his, and you his mistress, only for the most worthiest fit. Give me your pardon.
With us now, we have Rhys Owen and Phoebe Townsend. Welcome to the BAWD Review, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Hello. Rhys, my darling, my dear, my love, you and I have worked together. We write together. And when this came up, you were one of the first people that I thought of because you are, frankly, such a silly Billy. I must say, I particularly enjoyed you blowing the money across the floor so as to not touch the delivery lady's hand. How, knowing you as I do, and your inability to keep a straight face 90% of the time, how many times did it take you to get a take where you weren't laughing profusely?
So the problem with that take was the noise that my mouth unknowingly emitted trying to blow paper across a mat. There was one of these just came nowhere, a sort of weird sort of like a tiny sort of inverted trump. Yeah, a lot of, and then at one point I think our next door neighbour who's in the flat next to us just came and sort of had to stand sort of awkwardly behind us, and my girlfriend was just sort of filming but sort of making a face being like there's someone behind you. Had to sort of look up being like, I'm filming, and she didn't seem to understand. Yeah, I'd say maybe five takes before I suddenly was like, that's the best blowing across the floor of money I can do. 5.
Well, it
Sank.
was
wow.
It was
okay.
It was ridiculous.
So Phoebe, this is a play that's been adapted. You may have seen an adaptation. You know, we've sort of all seen the way it's appeared because it's so popular. It's appeared so many times on screen, musical theatre, all that sort of thing. Did that for you, or do you think this makes it easier to adapt? You know, do you think the Comedy of Errors is just more adaptable?
I'm not really. Well, I think because our process throughout the whole thing, we had a big Zoom call and we had a big discussion about it, and we like took some time apart and went through the text and found bits that were associated the best to lockdown. So
because it was more specific, maybe you approached it more organically and didn't really think about the ways it had been done before.
Yeah, we worked solely from the text, and I think we both watched the Globe version online, and that was really, really helpful to kind of see how they played it and stuff. But other than that, I think was the only real inspiration we took, and just the text alone. So it was really nice to have that discussion and have that conversation and kind of just create it ourselves. It was really fun.
There we go.
It's so funny because it is one of his lesser known plays, but it's so well known in the same way, you know, the mistaken identity and the numerous twins kind of going on, and we see that later on with plays like 12th Night, but this was actually the first of him experimenting and writing in that way. So
and obviously the RSC were due to do it this year, and that's been pushed back, but hopefully it may still happen this year, but certainly next year. But let's go and check it out. This is Rhys Owen and Phoebe Townsend in The Comedy of Errors, directed by Jake Smith.
He that commends me to mine own content commends me to the thing I cannot get. I to the world am like a drop of water. To the ocean seeks another drop, who falling there to find his fellow forth, unseen, inquisitive, confounds himself. So I, to find a mother and a brother, in quest of it, unhappy, lose myself. Ah, here comes the almanac of my true date. How chance thou art returned so soon?
Return so soon? Rather approach too late. The capon burns, the pig falls from the spit. The clock hath strucken 12 upon the bell. My mistress made it 1 upon my cheek. She is so hot because the meat is cold. The meat is cold because you come not home. You come not home because you have no stomach. You have no stomach, having broke your fast. But we that know what 'tis to fast and pray are penitent for your default today.
Stop in your wind, sir. Tell me this, I pray. Where have you left the money that I gave you?
Oh, 6pence I had Wednesday last. To pay the saddler for my mistress's cropper. The saddler had it, sir, I kept it not.
I am not in a sportive humour now. Tell me, and dally not, where is the money? We being strangers here, how darest thou trust so great a charge from thine own custody?
I pray you jest, sir, as you sit at dinner. I from my mistress come to you in post. If I return, I shall be post indeed. For she will scour your fault upon my pate. Methinks you're more like mine should be your clock, and strike you home without a messenger.
What, wilt thou flout me thus unto my face, being forbid? Take you that, sir knave.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel like I know the Bard's work a little bit better after this week's episodes. And here's a look at what is coming up in our final week of Series 2, as things are starting to get a little bit tragic.
Would poison were obedient and knew my mind.
Where wouldst thou send it?
To sauce thy dishes.
He wants the natural touch, for the poor wren, the most diminutive of birds, will fight for her young ones in the nest against the owl. All is the fear, and nothing is the love.
Hadst thou thy wits and didst persuade revenge, could not move thus.
Oh, misery. 'Tis not to make me jealous to say my wife is fair, feeds well, loves company, is free of speech.
Doth any here know me? This is not Leah. Doth Leah walk thus, speak thus? Where are his eyes?
And that was the trailer to Tragedy Week. Coming up next week, a very somber week it will be. Monday to Friday at 7:30 p.m. and Sunday, of course, at 9:30 a.m. for your next Bard review.